Hello, welcome everybody back to The Conscious View. My name is Tamara, also known as Shine Bright Earthling on Instagram, and this is my co-host, co-star, all the way from Saudi Arabia, Ogana.
Hi world, hi everyone. It is so nice to have you, and let's go on with another episode. And this one is really gonna be juicy and it's special, so pay attention. I really urge you to pay attention to this one.
Absolutely. So what we're going to be talking about today is the power of words and how you can use that to up your manifestation and magic abilities. I think a lot of people forget the power of words. They are a frequency within ourselves, in our spirit voice, in our minds, and in our heart, and also when we speak them out loud. So being very mindful, going back to last week's episode, of how you use words can really affect your ability to manifest the reality that you choose. So, Gana, when did you start realizing that maybe you have been stuck in word patterns that were maybe detrimental to your manifestation game?
Definitely, it's instantly when you asked me, Louise Hay came to mind, and it's when I discovered her school of thought and the way that you can heal yourself. That's her book and that's her mantra. You can heal yourself, you can heal your life, you can heal your body. And I realized the power of self-healing. It was a time around about 2013, almost 2014, when a relative was diagnosed with cancer, and I gifted her a book. Like, I bought the Louise Hay's book, All Is Well, and I felt like called to just gift that to her. And she was considering options, like alternative, all of the healing options, all of the medication options. And that's when she did not kind of like brush the book aside, and I began skimming through the book and discovering Louise Hay, and it was all about how thought patterns are created in our minds, and then how they create emotional states, and they create disease in our body. And I was like, wow, I could be the one who's giving myself serious life-threatening diseases. I need to wake up to this. It was like a harsh wake-up call, to be honest.
Absolutely. I think once I came across a video probably about a year ago by Ralph Smart, and it's The Hidden Meaning of Words in the English Language. We'll link all of this down below. Like, Ogana will link that book, and I will link the video that I'm speaking of. Ralph Smart says it so much more eloquently than I can, and I really recommend you watch it. It's not a long video, and it's very powerful. And I started to realize that, words evolve as well. So words have been rooted in different languages, but as they are used and adapted, they still carry an energetic signature. So when you're thinking about words, how you may be saying it in a slang type way, it still has the energy signature of when that word meant other things within a community. So being aware of certain things, I find, is really helpful. I mean, I'm not into, deciphering every single word, but there are some words that, can be looked at that are pretty common, like mourning, for example. Mourning is a ritual for the dead. And when every day we're performing a ritual of mourning when we say good morning. And it's one of the most powerful things because most people don't like to say good morning. Have you noticed that, Ogana? You notice most people are like, oh, good morning. Oh, good morning. And
I'm a morning person. Like, it's a powerful word. It's like a powerful affirmation. I'm not a morning person.
Oh my goodness. Yes, I actually never thought of that. That is a good point to bring up. I'm a morning person, or I'm not a morning person. I like to switch that up with like wake up or rising. That's one of those little ones that you can change. But I think the biggest statements that people don't realize that they get caught up is in I am. I am the most powerful statement, and whatever follows, you are actually ordering that from the universe. So I feel a lot of people, even who are quite along the spiritual path, still get caught up in the I ams. I am tired. I am angry. I am sick. You know, when you say those things, you become those things. And it's just something that we got caught up in our culture of saying, because we're not those things. You are not fat. You may have fat. You may be experiencing anger, but you are not those things. And so often, like, that is the biggest statement that I hear people say the most in the wrong ways, and then ends up undoing their manifestation goals, or they end up manifesting the exact opposite sort of thing.
Yeah, or like caught up in a cycle, because it's like it creates a kind of like a vortex of like what your life is going to be, like a circle of what your life is going to be. It starts with like creation, starts with a thought or a desire, like this motivation that comes up, and it gets translated into this recognition, realization, and then we use the power of our throat chakra and we speak it, like we express it, and we're like, I'm angry, you know, like I really want to do this, or I like. It's like it starts with this, and then when you say that into your reality, the universe hears you, and it's like, yeah, let's. It's like the director says action, and then it starts rolling, and this whole story that you created, and you spoke outside, you gave permission to it with speaking it out loud. It begins manifesting. Didn't you notice when you're silent about something, you don't talk about it? It kind of like it's just like it's there. It's just like an internal experience. When you start saying it, you're like, oh, I see the number 1111 all the time. When you state that, you begin see actually, you know, you affirm it, and so you create this cycle of you see it, you speak it, and it happens, and then it happens, you say the story. Oh, this happens, and you reaffirm it again. And it becomes this story, this pattern that you are living in, whether it be positive or negative. It's just like the universe is just accepting whatever words you're going to say.
Right. Well, and that's just like the same thing. I often wonder when cold and flu season comes around, everyone says it's cold and flu season. Everybody's sick. Everybody this. Oh, and the minute you have like a sniffle, they're like, oh, are you sick? And then you're like, am I sick? And you start thinking that. And were you? Instead of saying you're sick, say something like, oh, I'm healing. You know, my body's healing.
I'm just coughing. I'm just in this moment, my nose is running a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just coughing in this moment. Like, let's just take life moment by moment instead of judging and
absolutely
exaggerating.
The power of saying I'm healing. Since I've caught that particular spelling, I heal so much faster because it's me programming my body to heal from that. So when it's going around, or if I feel, you know, a little bit unwell, I will say, oh, I'm so thankful that my body is healing. I'm so thankful that I'm healing. And if people ask, I'm like, oh, I'm healing well. My body's amazing. It does these amazing things. But, you know, I always see people when they're like, oh, I think I'm getting sick. And I'm like, no. Say that. But it's not, because these are social constructs that we have been brought up with since birth. Like, this is common words of speaking around us, and we just pick them up accidentally, like glue, like it just sticks to us. And it can be really hard to be mindful of those things. But again, when you're living your life from a place of mindfulness, you do catch yourself doing those things, and you know, you can change and adapt them to your will.
Yeah, it's like it's a big one when we allow ourselves to. That's when the awakening doesn't ever stop, and the evolution doesn't ever stop, because it has to be moment to moment. Like we said it before, like you don't get a certificate that says, hey, you're enlightened, you're ascended to the millionth dimension now, and you don't ever have to do work. It's the world is like it's especially the manifested world. It happens through. There's another book that I hope that it's still available, and it's by Napoleon Hill. It's called Conversations with the Devil or something like that. And in the book, he says like the devil told him that he uses the law of hypnotic rhythm. That's what he says. And through that, because it's just a natural law, he just like the devil uses that to put people in a trance, and that's how he kind of like, you know, takes over the souls and everything. And so he cannot tell people.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's just like different. he cannot touch people who have the power to, who are like out of the trance, out of the hypnotic rhythm, and actually are programming positive things instead of like unconsciously letting things just happen.
Right. I'm just going to ask a question. It's a little bit off topic, but is the author of that book the same one who wrote Conversations with God?
No, that's a Conversation with God. I think it's Welsh, Donald Welsh, and he's Napoleon Hill is wrote Think and Grow Rich. He's famous for that, and he healed his he helped his kid heal from deafness because he refused doctors saying he's deaf and he's never gonna hear, and he actually he manifested that, and he was a master of his time.
That is amazing. And I think that that is something I try to be mindful of when I'm around children, to remind them the power of their words. I can't do this, that helps build confidence too, when you change your way of using words to a more positive way. You hear the same old, sorry, I had cat hair everywhere. you hear people in the LOA community always saying, to always be affirming, like, I am attracting abundance, or my life is always open to receiving. That is along the same sort of frequency that we are talking about. So this is big in the law of attraction community. And I find that a lot of people who get into it, they're working really hard. They are thinking positive, and I catch them doing this one little word thing that frustrates them. They don't realize that it's frustrating them, but they'll come to me and they'll be like, I'm so frustrated, Tamara, because I'm trying to manifest this. I'm trying to manifest that. And I was like, okay, what did you just say? They're like, well, I'm trying to manifest, and I'm thinking positive, and I'm in the attitude of gratitude. I'm like, but what did you just say? They're like, I'm trying to manifest. I'm like, exactly. You are trying to do something. And when you say trying, the universe will keep you in a perpetual state of always trying. So when you say, I am manifesting, then you order that from the universe. And it's that tiny little thing that is blocking so many people, is that I'm trying.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. It's like little things when you say trying, and you really program your reality to be in a trial instead of I'm manifesting. I'm actually living. I'm creating. Another word for manifestation that sometimes we don't use, and it's kind of like the same, is that creating. I just learned it from someone. I don't know his name. He's the owner of Arrhythmia, or like Rhythmia retreat in Costa Rica. But anyways, he did that documentary about medicine and all that. But anyways, he was saying, he was talking about manifesting versus creating. And like be a proactive person in your reality, and not like that person who's just like, you have like this magic wand and you're like, I'm just gonna do this, and like from far away, but you're actually integrating. And that's something that I wanted to talk about this topic, is that our words, our throat chakra, it's that place where we integrate our consciousness, which is the consciousness of having like the imagination of being able to, once you think the thought, you can see it tangible, and so it's there in thought, it's there. But in how do we translate into reality? It's through our words and through our creation, like committed to what am I gonna do today, so to empower that. Like I'm gonna empower that with my spelling, with me saying it, spelling it out with words, and also like creating this channel for it to be received. And I think we can talk about that more, about like magic and how you have to have like the right ingredients together and all of that.
Yes, and when we say spelling, there's that saying that says words are magic. That's why they call it spelling. So, the English language is full of so many tricks, and this is something that I am really learning. We made a quick little list of some of the ones that Ralph Smart mentioned. The one I love the most is the word grandma is actually from the word grimoire, which means book of
Oh.
spells. And that one warms my heart, right? Because your grandma was the wise one. And back in the day, it was your elders in which you received spiritual knowledge from, and how to practice the spiritual life or practice magic, or in our day and age, we call it manifestation. It's truly the same thing. That is something I actually spoke about on a podcast interview with Wesley Hoffman. I will link that down below too. We talked a lot about magic. But another one is like noticing how words are used against you within the world around you. So television, tell lies in vision, TV programming. Remember that you are being programmed. You're taking in information. A TV channel, it's channeling information into you. So becoming really aware of those can also help you navigate through things that are trying to trick you into thinking a certain thing or doing a certain thing. Yeah.
Yeah, truly. And also, I feel like the word channeling and the word spelling also looks a lot like you're using the channel of what? Are you using the channel of your vision, the channel of your body? Just like I said, when you're being proactive in your creation and your manifestation of this thing that you want, you're using the channel of your words. So the channel of the words and the intellect is the spelling. So it's like we are channelers. We need to accept that. A lot of people like maybe have like some certain, I don't know, feelings about like the word channeling. Hopefully not our audience. But it's true that when we awaken to the fact that we are channels, we are vessels of the divine, at the end of the day. And there are all these, energies. And one of the Arabic teachers who I love, and he talks about that. He says that you are the Bryce, like you as a human body, you are the Bryce to both the angels and the demons, and both of them are fighting to just channel through you their own agenda and their own, either heavens or hell. So you have to really be aware of that power, that you are a Bryce. It's a beautiful feeling when you like the feeling like I'm the Bryce. I'm the one who's directing the manifestation of this whole world if I wanted to.
Right. I was actually, when you mentioned that, it brought up that meaning of abracadabra. Have you seen that one?
Oh.
You are gonna love this if I can find it. Oh, let's see here. So
it's a Hebrew word,
is
right?
a Hebrew word that actually means I create what I speak. And it's interesting that it became like kind of forgotten about and sensationalized in a different way through Hollywood, which uses also a lot of magic, movie magic, right? So why they call that. So it is something I think that our ancestors were aware of a lot too. And I think, that's why older generations were always like, oh, don't say those sorts of things. Maybe intuitively they understood that, you're manifesting something. They maybe not had the same words that we use to describe it, but there was a reason why, our grandmas and stuff told us to focus on other things and not speak those filthy things into existence.
Like watch your mouth. I love the word watch your mouth, right?
Yes. Watch your mouth. And that's something, and I mean, here's the thing too, you guys, this is not something that I am a professional at all. I catch myself all the time. So does my son. He'll be like, oh, mommy, like, listen to what you just said. And I'll be like, oh, thanks for the reminder. It's hard. I am a seasoned person. I have been speaking the wrong phrases my entire life. But it is something that can truly, truly change everything for you. And I just find that, it's helped me so much change the world around me and just notice the beauty in things too. It's just like those people, like everybody knows that first thing in the morning, if you start getting yourself into like a tizzy and you're having a bad day and you're like, oh, that's it. This day is just awful. It's like the whole rest of the day left. Don't manifest that. You don't have to have a bad day. You can just have a hard moment. It doesn't have to define a whole thing. And that's something I really try to teach my son when he's like, I'm having the worst day. And I'm like, are you, or is it just a bad moment? Be careful what you say. You still have more of the day left to experience something opposite of what you are right now.
Yeah, and I would say I love saying I'm just caught up in a bad cycle. How can I turn it around? That's the question that I ask myself. And that's something that I want to also introduce and talk about in this episode. There is something that is called consciousness questions, or there's another term for it is empowered questions. Another term for it is magic questions. And you can like Google that and find like I don't remember the author, to be honest, but he created this whole system of manifestation, he has like a whole school of thought on his own. And the magic questions is he has like the 5 magic questions. I think this is the title. I heard it from another person calling it consciousness question. Another person called them empowered questions. Anyways, it's the way that the universe responds quicker to questions more than affirmations, especially when the affirmations are like void of feelings. That's why when we're like, oh, it's a bad day, I'm having a, like, you have all this intense feeling, and that's why it keeps perpetuating itself. Also, when we're so happy and you're like, I'm thankful, I love this, that's an affirmation also, and it will tend to quicker, like manifest and become your circle quicker than the other things when it is charged with emotions. And so when you are really, really tense, just ask yourself like, why, like instead of saying why is this happening, why not say why did I get myself in this bad cycle? What am I trying to learn? What is the lesson here? Is there a hidden blessing for me? And ask them with kind of like a playfulness and open-mindedness. And do not answer the question. Do not expect to receive any answer. Just let it be. Just ask and surrender. That's another recipe for manifestation that you're gonna love.
I love that you brought that up, and I'm gonna piggyback off of what you just said. That is something also that we need to be mindful of, is it's the energetic signature that comes from behind the words. So if you're like, good morning, and there's a happiness about it, you've kind of erased the morning part of it, right? And that is something Ron Hart talks about in his video as well. So it is the intention behind the word. And that's the whole thing with magic as well. It's the intention behind it. So you can't fake the universe, because I know a lot of people too are like, okay, so I'll say it. I'll say these things. I'll say everything you want me to say. But they're saying it from a place of disbelief, or they're saying it from a place of bitterness or from desperation. The universe cannot be lied to. I see so many people trying to trick the universe into manifesting something. And it's like, oh, honey, you're not fooling anybody. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the universe senses your energy. It has nothing to do with the actual word. It's the frequency of the word coming out of your mouth, which you can either positively charge and gain more from, or it can be negatively charged and you'll lose from, right?
So beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, once you like put this at the forefront of your mind, it becomes a game. It becomes something, because this could take you in a place where you're like paranoid and you just don't want to talk about it. Sometimes you're like, oh, I did this, and you feel guilty about it. But lighten up about it a little bit and look at it as this game, and remember that you kind of like signed up for this dimension, like you know about this. Like part of you, if you like really tune in, knows that this is just like, this is a word of, this is a magical world, and it's just playful, and it's not meant to ruin your life and get you in circles and like manipulate you. You're just waiting for you to awaken and gain your power back. And the soul is untouchable. It's not going to ever be compromised in any way. It's just like this manifestations of the body and the form that is like very much malleable, that gets like changed with our thoughts and with our words. And I want to also mention that about what you said, like when you can't fool the universe. There's a beautiful way to get out of this, because we keep falling into it. Like you like, I am love, I am light, and you're like, you're so angry, and you're like, who am I kidding? I'm so angry. I need to just sit in a corner and just release. And then just let's release the energy first and then like lighten up. And Abraham Hicks talks about that. I'm gonna try to link one of their video when
Yes.
they created this recipe, which is they call it Rampage, where how can you walk yourself from a negative state into a positive state and do your affirmations in that way, like beginning with, okay, I'm angry right now, I'm angry. And then you say, but it's okay. I allow myself to feel everything, and I'm living this life with all of these positive and negative feelings, and I allow myself to experience both spectrums. And then you take a deep breath and you take it easy. And then you say to yourself, and so it's a rampage, like you keep escalating the energy. And then you say, and sometimes I experience beautiful things. Sometimes I create them. I know I created them. Sometimes I experience bad things, and I know I created them. So maybe that's good news because it means I am a creator. It's true. And if I'm a creator, what do I want to create now? And so you walk yourself through it in a gentle way and really unlock and dissolve the tense energy. And it becomes a really fun game.
And that's something that I found, the process that you just spoke of is a lot easier when you're saying I'm experiencing a feeling instead of attaching yourself to it by saying I am. I used to have a very short fuse. It's something that I'm continuously working on lengthening. And I used to say a lot of times, like, I am anger, and I'd righteously feel it. I'm angry right now. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. And when I started to say, you know what, I'm experiencing a lot of anger right now. When you say you're just experiencing something, there is just this thing that clicks in your head that realizes that this isn't a permanent thing. It's an experience. Experiences change. They're always flowing. They change from moment to moment, which means you can move through it faster. And I found that just for me personally, it allows me to go through the process that you just spoke of a lot easier because I'm not attached to it. I know it's just an experience that I'm having. It's actually not even mine. Like, I'm just having an experience. And it's so important to work through those. And I mean, with every emotion. And when I say it for positive feelings, like I'm experiencing happiness, it also allows me to open space for gratitude for that moment because I understand that it's just an experience that's going to change. And then it really allows me to show gratitude for the moments that I am happy in a different way because I know that it might be fleeting. I mean, most of my life is pretty darn happy, not going to lie. Like I'm pretty happy all the time, but it allows me to honor the positive and it allows me to let go of the negative emotions associated with that experience.
Yeah, I love that. It's like we keep practicing and we keep learning stuff, and this is what we are here to do. This is what we are meant to do. That we catch ourselves and we laugh at ourselves and we're like, oh, look at that! I have this ego. I have this ego that I completely identify with sometimes, and think of creative ways. And I want to suggest that we do that maybe for how last week I did the 7 days for mindfulness. Maybe the next 7 days we can create together, create a dictionary, and we can have it on a Tumblr blog or whatever, we can create like a page, and I think through also Google, like the blog spot, I think. And we can create this whole pages and pages. We can maybe share them on our stories on Instagram. Like we write the negative word and then we write the correction of it, and save all of these pictures.
That's funny. I'm gonna piggyback off that because I know sometimes on my Instagram posts, or on my feed, I'll see memes that say good things are coming, and I will screenshot them and I'll go into Snapchat and I'll cross it out and I'll say good things are here. They are not, or
that's amazing.
Or you're about to be as happy as you ever been. No, I am as happy as I've ever been. Those tiny little things are kind of tripping us up and we become very, very unconscious of it. Yeah, that would be a really fun idea. And then hopefully we can get other people involved. Like, what kind of word magic do you guys do? What kind of things do you catch yourselves on? Share in the comments down below as well, or DM us. You can share it there as well. There was Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're meant to have fun with it, and we're meant to um, really become aware. Like the more that we are aware, we are creators, we are creators, we are creators. We bring ourselves back to fifth dimensional way of thinking. And the more that our mind gets and, stays, the longer that our mind can stay in the fifth dimensional energy, the
Mhm.
more we are like literally becoming the light that we want to see in the world, because we literally are becoming this channel of like we're activating our light bodies. It's truly in our hands. And I want to also invite everyone for a session with me. I have this way of how you can receive the good energy and ground it and anchor it, and how you can rebel the or transmute. I don't call it rebelling, really, it's just transmutation. But there's also the rebelling part for the some difficult things that we don't need to dive deep into. We just need to just let go of. So I have some of the techniques that can help you. I call them the right hand technique and the left hand technique.
Mhm.
So I can do some sessions for you guys, and I'm telling you, it's life changing, especially if you're an empath and you're very, 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 very sensitive,
Mhm.
and you feel like you can't function in the world. These two techniques helped me to get myself out of like being so scared to function in the world again.
Well, and that's another thing, right? Like we get caught up in stories. Like stories are just a string of word magic put together, and that's how we get caught up in those, you know, ill cycles. Like, oh, I'm an anxious person, or I've been
Oh yeah.
diagnosed with this or that, and it's like now you've attached a
Hmm.
story that is like a whole almost
Hmm.
prayer of words, like a spell, a ritual of
It
words
is.
that you are creating for yourself. So even as empaths, like I kind of consider myself a recovered empath. I don't subscribe to those things anymore.
Yeah.
I used to say, oh, I can't handle crowds. I can't go out in
Hmm.
public. It's too hard for me. Well, boy, did that come true. You know, the more
Mm.
I started saying, I'm protected, I can handle this, I am grounded, I am protected from this, I can create my own power, or I don't absorb other people's energies. That's what allowed me to create the magic I needed to be able to go out into the world without absorbing everything around me. But that is something as well in the spiritual community. We're always telling empaths all these things. You're this, and this. You're so sensitive that you
Yeah.
can't handle this. Well, you now you're infusing them with this story that they're going to adopt and then integrate and then project and create, as you said earlier, right? So we
Yeah.
really need to empower people. And that brings me back to like, I was writing down something when you were speaking. Um, this is what creating this whole new earth is about, is being very aware of these sorts of things and how our stories that we tell ourselves and how we tell other people's stories about themselves, it can be
Mm.
detrimental to them. And I know that there's like this huge controversy about offense culture, right? Everyone's like, oh, everybody becomes so offensive this day, you can't say
Yeah.
anything. I think it's the most brilliant thing, because that is the trailblazing to a new earth where we're being very mindful and conscious of how we are projecting onto others and how that affects them. I know that like people think, oh, you can't be funny and you can't do this. Well, why should you be funny at other people's expense? Because when you are,
Mm.
like you said, the information channels through, it becomes integrated, and that's how they start creating, is from that story, from that spelling, from those words and those meanings. So us
Mm.
walking towards this new earth, like that's stuff we're going to be very mindful of, is the energy that not only that we're projecting to ourselves but onto others.
Yeah, I love that because it's natural. I mean, think about it. The more that you are in check and awakened, which is really truly integrating your awakening, integrating your light into the your own life, um, it's gonna definitely ripple out. Like you're gonna be, and as I said, you're gonna become the change that you want to see in the world. And so you're gonna be acting responsibly, not saying anything just because you want to say it, but really being in check of like, what am I saying here? How is this gonna influence the world? Because I care about how this because I care about myself enough to, I don't want anything to influence me except in a beautiful way.
Mhm.
So also it's naturally it's gonna grow on me, and it's gonna, touch the world too. And I'm gonna be this person who's honoring not only my experience but everyone else's experience. Like, when did we stop honoring each other? When did we become even angry because others take offense? They should be free to feel whatever they want to feel. How can we like not allow them to be offended? Like it's their own feelings. Like how can we, let's just honor each other and love each other and stop bullying each other, literally.
That brings me back to, I don't know if this is a common saying where you're from, but there's a very common saying here: sticks and stones only break bones, or sticks and stones break bones, but words can never hurt me. And as a teenager, I changed that into sticks and stones only break bones, but words can shatter a soul.
Whoa.
Right? And they can. And you know, we're infusing these children with, oh, they're just saying it. Don't be offended. You're taking it too personally. No, these words hurt. Words hurt, and they can cause a lot of damage. This is how these social constructs and like things that we carry throughout our lives that we're working on dissolving now came from words. It all came from words, and being mindful of them is how we show compassion for others. And I think that that's what we're moving towards. And thank the offensive culture for trailblazing that for us. And I know some people are having a hard time. They get so attached to their way of being that they're like, well, why can't I be that way? Well, because it's hurting people.
And as an awakened community and a conscious community, to be honest, like when you start awakening, I've been this person who's like, no, like I'm speaking the truth and I'm coming from the light and I don't care what what anyone feels. And it's not true. It's not true. Like I care. Eventually I do care. I want everyone I want to be someone who creates, like, help someone, because I know I can't feel for anyone, but I can inspire a good feeling instead of curse someone. And I always tell people, don't curse. Like someone would tell me, oh, did you see that girl? I think like her husband is like too much controlling of her and whatever. And I'm like, don't curse her. Like, don't judge her. Don't curse. I always say that. Like I would cut people when they're gossiping, and I'm like, don't curse her. Just don't do that. I don't like that. I don't want to hear that. And it's like when we actively become like aware and honoring ourselves, we don't want, like when we truly, truly honor ourselves and honor our light, we don't want to just say things and just say the truth. We want to be integrated. We want to be grounded. We want to be compassionate, because the ultimate truth is love. The ultimate truth is the other person is me. And if I hurt them, I get hurt.
Right. And I think that what we're coming to realize as a community is that words are so powerful. And we have been not choosing, but subconsciously using words to tear people down. That is just the culture that we have come from: competition culture, capitalism. We don't use words to empower people. And that's what New Earth is all about, is using your words to lift people up. And I would much rather, I don't know, I love that about us. Like, I love the community that I'm involved with, all of these amazing digital conscious creators, and they're empowering with words. One small little sentence in a meme could change someone's life. And why is this not a positive thing? Why do we have to tear each other down? And it's a slow change. Culture doesn't change quickly. But the more that we do it, the more people enjoy it. That's why people flock to people who know how to use words in ways that, inspire, that motivate people. That's why we're attracted to them, is because they're not tearing us down. They are building us up after years and years of being torn down by other stories and words and spelling. And it's so amazing. And I'm really excited about that, because I see the younger generations suffering from the way that we use words so much. And, like I said, so many shattered souls are walking around all because of words, and that can be changed. Yeah.
It could be, yeah, especially, I mean, I get so frustrated, especially around kids, when I'm respecting, like, for me, like my nieces and my nephew, like I'm respecting my sister and how she doesn't want them to be like, to like open to other religions, for example. And so because I sit down and meditate and chant mantras sometimes, and the way that I speak, I'm just like, I'm integrating in my life everything that I believe in my life, that I know you know, it's like I know that every word that I say, like it's so hard for me. Like I would just say, and I'm like, I'm trying to stay in check, but every word that I say is awakening these kids. Is gonna just turn their head around, because I'm that person. I'm that person who's a catalyst for everyone around me. And it's been like, you know, it's so interesting to see how the world is changing and how it's accepting that, and how it's like it's kind of like the light when it's beginning to be embodied and it beginning to ripple out and shine through. Nothing can stop it. Nothing can stop it. That's it. Like the only choice that we have truly is to be aware that we are the change through our words, through our actions, through our being. Just remember that, you guys. Yeah, and that's it. That's all that it takes.
That is a beautiful, beautiful place to close off. I just love how you tied that up and wrapped it up. And it is. You guys are so powerful. You guys are so powerful. I want you all to realize how powerful you are and really play around with it. Like, I invite you for this week to play around with words. See how it changes, you know, your reality around you, you know, and let us know if you want to share. DM us. You can find us on Instagram. You find me under Shine Bright Earthling. You can just follow Ogana at Ogana. And if you want to leave a comment here, there, please do. We would love to hear your thoughts. If you have any questions, we also honor you for joining us today. We understand how busy life gets, and the fact that you've taken time out of your experience to join us and vibe with us. We love that. And I hope you guys found some value. And I want to extend gratitude to my beautiful co-star, Ogana, who just, I love our circuit. It is a beautiful thing. And I think that you had a lot to contribute today that was new for me. And that's amazing. I love that. Thank you so much.
And thank you too. We're learning and growing together, and let's stay connected. I'm gonna try to we're gonna try, and I'm gonna talk with Tamara now about like creating this thing, that dictionary. I'm like, it's running in my head like a conscious dictionary, you know?
Conscious dictionary. Ooh. More things to come. So spiritual toolbox. What about next week, Ogana? What are we bringing to the viewers next week?
Yeah, let's see. Let's keep it open and juicy and kind of like exciting. And maybe if you guys affirm, like all of you have like a certain like idea in your head of what is the topic you want to talk about. And and let's see if we can telepathically catch that and make that episode.
Yes. Well, and another thing, if you guys want to comment, maybe it's time to have a guest on. Maybe it would be nice to have, if we can arrange something, it might be nice to have a guest and just spice it up a little bit. We have a few people in mind. So if you guys are interested in seeing something like that, let us know. And for now, shine bright, take care, and we will talk to you guys soon.